This year's seminar is devoted to the new role of teachers in this world of social and economic transitions in which we are living right now, fueled by globalization, digital technologies, and intercultural relations that foster the shift to a knowledge-based economy and lifelong learning.
That we cannot be limited to one level of education. We have to, that the basic problems, fundamental ones, are actually very similar or maybe identical in different levels of education.
Here's a problem that we all share as teachers, as educators. It's a huge problem because what we're trying to do is prepare young people for a world of work which we can't describe yet because we don't know what it's going to be like. Undergraduates who are coming into their first year of their degree this year, in 3 years' time they will be entering into a world of work which we don't know what it will look like. How do we prepare children and young people for a world of work which doesn't exist yet? Well, the answer is not to give them facts anymore. It's not to provide them with knowledge anymore, because knowledge goes very quickly out of date. The secret is to provide them with the ability to go off and learn skills which they can then transfer into any changeable situation.
In reality, in my sector, we're sort of large teenage creches. As long as they're in the classroom doing good things, the success is good, they're not making too much noise, they've got a lesson plan, they've got a scheme of work. Up until a few years ago, we were all quite relaxed about that. That won't work in the future. Students are waking up to the fact that a qualification and just sitting there getting PowerPoint after PowerPoint does not develop their skills and create a better future.
And what we've done is been able to introduce quite large gaps in the curriculum traditional timetable model to enable students, coaches and other organisations to work with us, with the students, in old language, off timetable. But we're giving space for people to entertain projects and activities that are driven by student groups.
And in the US, one of the things people often say is that our schools are broken. And to us, that was a comment that didn't make much sense. And when we reflected on that further, we thought, maybe it's not our schools that are broken, maybe it's our theory of learning that's broken, right? And if we take that perspective and start to interrogate what it really means to teach and what it really means to learn, you have a very different kind of set of perspectives that come out of that. Learning is something that we do naturally, we do it all of our lives, and what's really fascinating about learning is that when we're doing it about something that we care about deeply, it's effortless. It doesn't take a lot of work to learn about things that you love. You do that quite naturally. And we have a philosophy around learning which says if people are laughing, that needs to stop. If people are having fun, they're not working. If they're enjoying the subject matter, they can't possibly be learning. And I think that's something that we need to actually re-examine.
We believe that if higher education is redesigned along the lines we suggest, there will be a transformation throughout institutionalized education. We are aware of the fact that this conviction places great demands on an institution that already seems overburdened. Universities worldwide are experiencing hard times. This is hardly news. However, the difficulties that resulted from the underfunded move towards mass higher education that were recently exacerbated by the global financial crisis distract attention from a more fundamental problem: the university's own failure to innovate.
Realistic problems instead of mechanical computing, individual and independent learning instead of stubborn formula training, these are the characteristics of math teaching in Sinus. And this article was not written by me or one of my colleagues, it was written by journalists.
We know that things have to change. I don't need to go about convincing you or convincing anybody about these things anymore. I had to 2 years ago, and that's why I named the blog Grow or Pay. But now we've reached the point where the question to be asked is not if something needs to change or not, but how can we make the change happen? How to bring these ideas, these visions that we've been hearing about, we've been talking about today as well, how to bring those into the practical level, how to actually make a change.
So the bottom line here is ICTs are tools and they could never replace teachers, even though we are experimenting new ways of classrooms without teachers. So we don't know what the future has in stock for us, but what UNESCO will reinforce and stress is to make sure that the human and the interaction aspect of teaching and learning environments are maintained.
The Committee of 10 that met in 1893, and they decided that the right structure of secondary education for American schools would be that one. Does it ring a bell? This is the structure they decide, and I think in other countries we can find similar processes. This is very well documented. So now we have a structure of secondary education which is based on decisions made 125 years ago. So, and this is, nobody seems to discuss the suitability of that.
I just selected a few of the sentences that I think that are the most important that we have been discussing these 2 days. Teaching, and I really like it, this one, so this is why I decided to put it first. Teaching is about inspiring people. It's like, it's not